So now I want to talk about business numbers in 10 minutes. And this is one of the really cool parts of running a business, being able to know what your numbers are, look at them in 10 minutes, and then get on with doing what you love. You don't want to be looking at numbers all day. I get that. You went into business because you love what you do, not because you wanted to be a bookkeeper or an accountant. Heaven forbid. That's the last thing you guys ever wanted to do. So you've gone into business because you love and you're passionate about what you do, and that's where you want to spend your time. So putting in systems in place to do your business numbers in 10 minutes is a vital part of making sure you're running a business, you know where you're up to, but you can get on with doing what you want to do. Now, I have a couple of models for business in 10 minutes, and the first is what I call the 3 T's: transactions, turnover, and take home. So transactions, that's the number of times you're doing business in a day, in a month, in a week, day, week, month, get them in the right order, in the year. And tracking your number of transactions is a good measure of what your turnover is actually going to be, to identify just how many transactions you have. I'm working with one business at the moment, and we've honed in on what the transaction numbers are on a daily basis. We're reporting it, we're checking it, we're reviewing it. We're looking to increase it by 50% over the next 12 months, and we're tracking it. It's being tracked on a daily basis, and we know that if we can increase that by a little bit every month, then in the 12 months time period, we will meet the goals that business has set. So it's a nice little number to look at, and usually pretty easy to pull off most accounting type systems. Turnover, again, that's sales, income, revenue, same thing, turnover. It's the number that most people look at in any event. And then, of course, what I have in there is the take home. It is important that you focus on how much you take out of the business, what your take home is, whether you're drawing it as salary, whether you're a sole trader and it's just your drawings, taking director's fees, paying yourself a dividend out of a company, whatever it is that you're paying, it's transactions, turnover, and take home. And they're the 3 T's that are good to keep an eye on. I've then got my BCD: bank, creditors, and debtors. A number of business owners I've talked to say that they know how they're going by how much money's in the bank. If they've got money in the bank, yep, all's good. And yes, it would be nice that it's that simple, but it's not quite that simple, because you've got creditors, you've got people, you've got your accounts payable, you've got suppliers to pay, you've got GST, you've got income tax, you've got employees tax, you've got super, you've got all sorts of things you have to pay, and you will have to pay them. So if you've got money in the bank, it's knowing how much money you owe that's also an important factor in understanding where you're sitting at any point in time. And of course, the important one as well, the debtors. How much money is owing to you that really should belong in your bank account? You've sold your product or services, the money's in your bank, it should be in your bank account, you've done the transaction, and effectively they're hanging on to your money. So that's an important one to understand what, the bank, the creditors, the debtors. Those 3 numbers together are a good measure of a quick view of how the business is tracking. The best way to look at how your business numbers are tracking in 10 minutes is to set up some kind of a dashboard. And depending upon what kind of system you're using for your accounting records will depend upon what dashboard will work for you. And there are different types of dashboards. So there's real-time dashboards, there's static reporting, there's a number of different ones that can be used. And the example I've used here is the income metric. So this slide doesn't show it in terms of what the descriptions are, but it's revenue, so sales, it's cost of sales, gross profit, expenses, net profit. And those numbers you can then see very easily. So if this was your business and it's probably 3 months back from where we are at the end, you can see that the business has gone down for the last 2 months. At that point in time, it's very easy to know that you're in trouble, things aren't going right, you need to be pulling that revenue back up again. So I find that showing those business numbers in graphical form is so much easier to understand. Certainly, yeah, I can look at a sheet of numbers and I know exactly what's going on in a business. But for most people, that's a page of mumbo jumbo and it doesn't mean anything at all. So having a dashboard with graphical displays, whether it's a chart, diagram chart like this, or it's a pie chart, or it's a bar graph, we all understand those visual aids, and they can really. It is a picture tells 1,000 words, and they can with your numbers. So it doesn't have to be complicated. It takes a little bit to set it up, but it's an important thing to set that up, to understand what your business looks like and have a dashboard you can log into very quickly once a day. I've got some more information about that in the book around page 154 and onwards. That's my business in business numbers in 10 minutes. What we also put in those business numbers is key performance indicators and their KPIs. There's lots and lots of different KPIs, and I don't have time today to go through those, but the starting point on that is to look at some basic fundamental ones. And at page 146 in the book, I refer to how to identify your top 5 KPIs, and there's lots of information from page 95 onwards about different types of KPIs, both financial KPIs that work in the business and also some non-financial KPIs. So looking at your marketing metrics and numbers and some of the other things that are specific to industry that are not necessarily just straight numbers from the financial statements. And those are numbers that are important to put together in this dashboard so that you've got that quick one-page kind of glance of the business that you can look at for 5 or 10 minutes every day and know exactly where you're going, and then turn it off and get on with doing what you enjoy doing and have the fun in your business and doing what you love.